episode.
Well, howdy, partner. How's it going?
You're talking to me like that because of a movie, not because of Texas, right?
Nope.
What?
Because I'm a cartoon character.
Oh.
Come to life. No,
you got a big old mustache, a big old
dude.
Yosemite
I don't know
Sam.
how people keep that voice up forever and ever. I would pass out.
That would be awful.
Oh my gosh.
So you watched Bone Tomahawk.
This is Sheriff Franklin Hunt. Identify yourself right now, or I'll shoot you dead.
Here's the situation.
Mrs. O'Dwyer was abducted. You know who did this?
I don't have a name.
How many of them do you think there are?
It won't matter. You have no chance against any number of them.
I'm riding out with Mr. O'Dwyer.
As will I. I've killed more Indians than everyone here put together.
Ambush!
You seeing all this?
We didn't know what it was like.
We'll make sure all this has value.
Boom. Tomahawk.
And I watched it on Sunday.
Yes, finished it 2 days ago.
And it was just like coincidence that we watched it around the same time.
Sort of. Here's the weird thing is, I don't have really proper internet, so I can't, like, do video on demand, and I have a red box, but everything here is constantly out because we have one red box in this town.
Oh, wow.
And so it takes like 6 months to see any movie, regardless of how popular it is. So I am one of the few people in this town that understands how the library system works.
Yeah.
Libraries have a certain amount of budget they have to spend a year. If they don't spend all that, the state cuts them back to that amount that they did spend. Do it again, lower, and they keep running out of money to use. So, what they need is for people to request things. So you fill out forms, and they pay for them, whatever. And it's your tax money anyway supporting the library, so why not use that library to get the movies, music, books you want to entertain yourself with?
Huh.
So I find myself entertained on two levels. A, I get the movies that I want to see that I can't find to rent in this town.
Right.
Oh, by the way, this town is very, very religious, and none of the theaters will carry R-rated movies.
What?
I should say,
Where are you?
Lincoln City, Oregon. It is a town of 9,000 people, and it's very religious. But hold on! This town is also the second most violent city in Oregon.
That's what happens when you have repression.
Yeah. Lots of meth, lots of gambling.
Just a tangent here. Rated
Yes.
R movies. I'm not talking about the content necessarily now. I'm not talking about taste. I'm talking about rated R movies that have a certain level of violence or depicted sexuality.
Actually, they won't even. They will not carry horror movies. Period. Not even if they're PG-13.
Okay, horror movies from hard PG-13 to R and NC-17, whatever. Anything like that is catharsis. There's a positive reason for that stuff.
Yes.
It's catharsis. It's life-affirming, ultimately, especially if it's really well-made and the story is good.
Right.
You're done with the movie. You have the white knuckles if it affects you like that. And then you breathe, and you're fine. And maybe it took some of that negative energy from you that, not you, not me, but somebody might apply it to, beating somebody and their family. Maybe it took that energy from them. It's catharsis in a way.
Yes.
It's proven. It's science, too. Dang it.
But for some reason, they don't listen to logic around here. The irony is it's all about guns, God, and gambling. Guns, God, and gambling. Wow, that's a new movie.
So you couldn't get a hold of it until...
The other level of entertainment is asking the library to buy the most bonkers movies. I got them to buy Big Ass Spider, Everly, Joe Lynch's
Everly's good.
And I got them to buy Bone Tomahawk. They have to find some sort of artistic reason to buy it. I don't know. I still don't understand how they found an artistic reason to buy Big Ass Spider, but I don't care. I got it. And usually, even with them ordering it, it takes a while because someone will see it entered in the computer and put it on hold. And somehow I was the first person on the list since I requested it, and I didn't have to wait 6 months to get a movie. I'm going to tell you this. If I have to wait to see Star Wars, it's going to be 2 years. It'll be years down the road before I could ever get that from the library. It's a bit rough.
So you're talking about the new Star Wars. You have seen it, right?
Oh, yeah. I went to the theater and saw that.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that's how it works around here is it's such a small library and so many people use it, but they don't understand that you can order what you want. So I ordered these obscure, kind of off the beaten path, not major studio movies, and that's how I got to see Bone Tomahawk.
That's cool. Were you influenced by Ben Rock in your decision to do it?
No, I'm a huge Kurt Russell fan, and I could not control myself.
Okay. Okay. Calm down there.
No, I'm kidding. I haven't seen every Kurt Russell movie. I've never seen Dreamer, which seems like really boring. But I will say this, the trailer for Bone Bone Tomahawk is one of the worst trailers I've
Yeah,
ever
it's
seen in
not
my
good.
life.
It's just like when I saw the trailer. Okay, this will lead to the Ben Rock thing. When I saw the trailer, I was just like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, oh, okay, it's
Yeah,
the Western.
I was like, oh, that's not gonna sell. I can see why that went straight to. Well, I think it was in like a few theaters, but
yeah, I mean they have to,
it's mostly
be considered for Academy Award or something. And what's his name? Richard Jenkins.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of nominations.
That dude should get an Academy Award for this movie.
Holy
Hold
crap.
on for a second though.
Yes.
Ben Rock posted on his Facebook page that the movie is not for the squeamish or something. And then I was like, what does that mean? And then I remembered, and now this is getting into spoiler territory, that I read an article.
We are going to spoil the crap out of this movie, people.
Yes.
So make sure you've seen this first.
Pause right now, go see the movie, come back at this point, continue on. I read, this is the minor spoiler, so I knew what to expect a little bit, and it didn't go exactly the way that I expected because of the spoiler, but in a brief article or a comment somewhere, somebody said, separately from the Ben Rock thing, that it was like a Western Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
So I knew a little bit of what to expect, but I didn't totally, fully get, I don't know, spoiled or rewarded, either one, with the full brunt of the Hills Have Eyes formula, right?
Yeah.
So, alright.
Yeah, well, see, I don't know how many people you are friends with on Facebook that are in the industry, but I would say it's probably a 50-50 shot with me, and it was like everybody within a couple weeks was Bone Tomahawk, Bone Tomahawk, Bone Tomahawk. I was like, alright, I better go get this.
Yeah, I'm not super deep into industry guys. It's just Ben Rock and a few other guys. And Ben Rock was the only guy to make mention of it. Yeah, that's why I asked if you were influenced by it. Because
gotcha.
LB saw his post as well. She's my wife, and she's friends with him too. And she was like, okay, yeah, let's give it a try.
Now, are you a Kurt Russell fan?
I'm not a fan, but I'm not a detractor. I like the guy.
He's probably my favorite actor.
It's hard for me to be a fan of Van, just a fan. I like things a lot, and I don't like things a lot, and there's some middle ground somewhere around there. But to be a fan, a fanatic, I always think of the root words, and so I always resist
This
using
is true.
them.
I had this discussion with someone. I am a strong admirer.
Yeah.
That still sounds wrong. I'm sitting at your window. I'm a strong admirer.
See, I am not a fan of Tom Cruise. However, the dude makes great movies.
He does.
Right?
Oh,
so
I've never
I
had
will
such
go,
conflict.
Tom Cruise hitched his name to that. The Mummy? Well, I
Yeah,
guess
that's
the trailer,
weird.
I'll know by the trailer, but his track record, as far as my taste goes, since the 2000s, whatever, has been
$10.
great.
$10 says he adds his name as a producer and backs away, and someone else stars in it.
I will not take
It'll
your
probably
bet.
Jeremy Renner.
I will
Yeah.
not take your bet, but okay, maybe. Yeah, he's done that before, I think. So anyway, point is,
All right, Bone
point is,
Tomahawk.
a fan of, I'm I guess more of a genre than an actor. But if an actor like Kurt Russell hitches his name up to Tarantino or some other thing, I might take notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
All right, so people who are picking up Bone Tomahawk and don't know it's a horror movie, can you imagine?
Yeah,
'Cause,
it's a
You
Western.
know, I can say, oh, I love the Westerns. Oh, and I'm a big Kurt Russell fan. I love me some Tombstone. 20 minutes into it, oh, God! Ah!
20 minutes into it, you have, well, no, it's just 5-10 minutes into it, you have Sid Haig getting taken.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it keeps getting worse as it goes.
It
But I'm
does,
like, at
but
first,
it's such a
little
slow
bloody.
burn. Strangely, it's a slow burn that doesn't feel boring at all.
Yeah, it's because of the dialogue. The dialogue and the characters carry this movie. Yeah, it's one of those movies where it understands that it's a low-budget movie, that it doesn't have a whole lot. Besides the characters and the dialogue, the director, Z. Craig Zoller, if I said his name right, this is his first movie, but it's not the first thing he's written. He's done like what, 4 or 5 books?
Huh.
So he understands how to keep you entertained through the pages by developing the characters through dialogue.
Yeah.
So he brings that kind of way of making films. You know, that style is just like, you have to spend time with these people in order for you to care when it comes down to, are they going to live or die?
Right.
Which horror movies do not usually do. In fact, the fact that almost all the protagonists are male is also very unusual for a horror movie.
Right. Well, you have the wife, Lily Simmons. She's playing Samantha. She's awesome. I like her. She's in Banshee, and she had a moment in the first season of True Detective. So yeah, she's cool. She plays the wife, and she's like a doctor. What is she?
Right.
She's
a doctor.
She's a doctor, and there's another doctor in town, but she like fills in when he's a drunk. So her husband is a cowboy, an actual cowboy, rustles cattle, and he broke his leg. Patrick Wilson. Enter the mix Matthew Fox as Brooder. He is a gunslinger, and he had designs on Samantha. But this is all context, like character development context, and it's done very well. It's just all, like you said, dialogue.
What are you doing here, Brooder? I'm just here to fetch a doctor. All right, keep your eyes off my wife.
You know, stuff like that, and it's not as badly dialogued as that, but...
No.
And the sheriff...
What if we just did the entire movie right now, but did it completely monotone? Yes, make sure that you look out for the troglodytes.
The worst table read ever. The Sheriff Hunt is Kurt
Hold
Russell.
On. I gotta interrupt you. I don't know why I thought this was hilarious, but take every overacted scene ever in a movie, and we'll just replay them, but like completely monotone. Like anything that Al Pacino has ever done. It's just God is an absentee landlord.
I don't want your life. I don't want your life.
Yeah, I don't want your life.
I don't want your life.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I watched Teenagers from Outer Space the other night just to lull me to sleep, and one of the main actor guy has a very strange way of speaking, and it's kind of like that. No, don't go there. That's why I don't want you to die. No, really. Stilted.
Or what if you took Plan 9 from Outer Space and took all the overacted sequences and played them down, and then all the underacted sequences, like, go overboard with them?
Right.
Oh, God, the ideas just barf out of me that are almost always terrible.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's continue.
Okay, so Kurt Russell's a sheriff. Richard Jenkins is his deputy, who is an old widower.
Not just the deputy, the backup deputy.
He's the
constantly referred to as the backup
deputy,
which is really weird.
Where's the other deputy? I guess he's drunk or something. Anyway, Chicory is his name, and he's an old guy, and he does his rounds. He just seems like he's a volunteer.
Yeah.
And he's an old guy who doesn't have much to do with his life anymore because his wife died. And this is all context you get not spoon-fed to you. It's all organic. It's really, really good. So the director is a great writer. And then at the very beginning, you have Sid Haig and David Arquette as a couple of thieves and murderers killing some folks and then running off. They stumble upon a burial ground, and then one of them gets killed. David Arquette shows up in town, is arrested.
It's funny how David Arquette's career has changed, because he 15 years ago he was a leading man in terrible studio movies. Now it seems like it's getting really hard for him to get any work, but if he focuses on being a character actor, things can change
he was
for
good
him.
in this. He was
because
really good.
He's only in a small part of it, but he is the absolute driving point of everything that happens later in the movie. If he doesn't do what he does, then the rest of the movie doesn't happen. Actually, I'll say this about the director. The director really has an eye for character actors. He seems to enjoy casting people who are kind of under the radar, people you don't see very often in what is intended to be a theatrical film. Sid Haig, Sean Young, Michael Pare, Fred Melamed. Who's the guy?
Michael Pare looks like a totally different guy. I couldn't recognize him, and I was like, wait, but I knew something. I was like, I know who that.
Well, he's a lot beefier now.
He's huge, and his face is different, but not like it's worked on. It's just like time has taken something and gone somewhere else with it. His hair's lighter, but I wanted him to do more.
Well, he's not. I'll say this: he is not fat.
No.
I, for the longest time, thought that he was heavy.
No.
And then I saw a picture of him about a year ago, and he is massive.
Yeah, he's enormous.
He's like, I don't know why he's not in the Expendables if they make a fourth one, because he was an action guy, and he actually is. He's not a great actor. I'm a big fan of Michael Pare, but he is not a great actor. But he is a reliable actor. He's a guy who shows up. He's like a Robert Forster.
Yeah.
He does what he does, and he does it well. He's always reliable. You never hear bad stories about him. And that's why he gets cast so often.
He just had a cameo where he showed up and he was told to shut up, which is awesome.
Sheriff Hunt, what do you intend to do about my horses?
They're not my priority right now.
Those are my finest.
Quiet! Ask about horses again, I'll slap you red.
But here's the other one. James Tolkien shows up, who I thought was dead. I thought he died years ago. You know, he's the principal from Back to the Future.
Yeah. 1931. That's when he was born. And he's a pianist. He's got a really funny scene. We don't need to get into all the particulars. We need to get to the meat, though.
No, but it kind of shows you that the director has an eye for people who kind of have been left behind. They're not hot properties, so they don't get cast a lot. But he remembers these actors from when he was a kid. And it would be the same thing if I did a movie. I'd be constantly looking around for actors that I was like, they do good work.
Where's Dick Miller?
I haven't seen them in a while.
Where's Dick Miller? Get me Dick Miller.
Oh my God, this movie needs Dick Miller. It needs more Dick. Miller.
Gosh. In the middle of the night, while tending to David Arquette's wounds, he got shot in the leg because the sheriff does that. Samantha and David Arquette and Deputy Nick. That's why there's a backup, right? Because Deputy Nick, they all get abducted, which leads on the quest to get them back. Her husband has a broken leg, but he insists on going. So it's Matthew Fox, Patrick Wilson, Kurt Russell, and Richard Jenkins. Riding horses.
By the way, I should say this. Do you know this movie was actually completely cast differently when it was the first run around?
I think so, but you talk. Tell me.
It was Peter Sarsgaard in Patrick Wilson's role. It was Timothy Olyphant in Matthew Fox's role, and it was Jim Broadbent in Richard Jenkins'
Right,
role.
Jim Broadbent. Yeah, I know that part. I didn't know the other stuff.
I was disappointed
Jennifer
because
Carpenter.
I'm a huge Timothy Olyphant fan. Oh, Jennifer Carpenter. And I think the budget was $10 million, and if I remember reading the article correctly, the studio would not budge on how long it was going to be. They wanted an hour and a half. They wanted something they could easily sell in the theaters. And they wanted to tone down the gore. They wanted to make it more PG-13 because Western tends to gear older. And I think there was a fight over that for nearly a year. So they went with a different financer, and the budget went from like $10 million to what it looks like on IMDb, and it still stuns me, is the budget is $1.8 million.
Wow. What?
I mean, there's not a lot of production value in this. A lot of it is out in the desert, and it is mostly dialogue, but you're still like, how did they get this cast? I mean, right there, you think that would be the $1.8 million.
You know, our dream Punisher, Michael Wincott, was considered for Sid Haig's role.
Forgot about that. He's your dream Punisher?
Yeah, well, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about this. Yeah, imagine him in the early 90s, mid-90s as the Punisher, and he would have been perfect.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect. The grizzled voice, and he plays it hard and strong as opposed to second fiddle. He would be a great Punisher. Think about it. If Luc Besson took the Punisher and did it, that would be... Michael Wincott would be a really great Punisher.
Mine would have been Walter Hill and Johnny Mesner as the Punisher.
Who?
Johnny Mesner. He hasn't been in a whole lot. He was in the second Anacondas movie. He was in Running Scared.
Oh, I know who that guy is.
Yeah. He looks like a Punisher.
He always plays terrible guys. But I see what you're saying. He's got the brawn for it too. Anyway, so Wincott was going to be Sid Haig's guy. But this movie is not wholly unremarkable because it is completely remarkable in its storytelling craft. Its cinematography is nice enough anyway. A lot of it's shot at night.
A shot in Santa Monica of all places. Yeah, not Santa Monica. I think Malibu.
It was shot in the back lot of Paramount for a while, and then that's the western town, I believe. But once they get to the cave,
oh boy, the movie changes. No, it's like, everything that happens to the minute they get to where the troglodytes, these are the villains, people, troglodytes, not Native Americans.
They're like inbred, constantly inbreeding. It's like eugenics. It's like what the Nazis wanted to do, but without the sterility and science behind it. I mean, science is a method of investigation and application. So, these troglodytes were actually effectively applying science, but I doubt that they actually considered it that. I think they just considered it kind of magic. We do this to this, it equals this.
Yeah.
So, without articulating it. So, did you see the pregnant ladies?
Yeah, the movie's not over, dude. There's gonna be a sequel. You know it.
Oh my god.
They're still alive.
Those pregnant ladies, man. You saw them, right?
You're talking. We were jumping ahead.
Yeah.
But you're talking at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah. You didn't like sidestep that and not pay attention, get a drink or something. You saw that.
Nope. I saw
Oh my
it.
god.
I knew it, and I was like, but it's hard to say. These are proper gentlemen, even though they've gone through hell. They're proper people, and they're like, well, they're asleep, they're pregnant, those are babies. They might still have a chance of not turning to be freak shows. But if you look at it, look at this. The simple fact is everything started because David Arquette's character went onto their land, disrupted their burial ground, so they felt it was kind of an invasion, and they came to get him because to them that is an absolute crime. He must be taken. But
witnesses.
Also, they took witnesses, but why did they take the witnesses? Why didn't they just leave them? It's not like they could trail them back. And who gave a shit about David Arquette's character? So they are evil.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue the fact that they need to be stopped because Bone Tomahawk 2 is just around the corner, the children's revenge.
I don't think so. I think this is a perfectly wrapped up one thing.
Oh no, it'll be said. See, now there has to be a lot more villains because that's how sequels are. They always go with more. So they're going to take time to make more mutant babies. So it's going to take a few decades. So you're going to find yourself in the roaring 20s and gangsters going into the hills, taking out those cannibals. Ah!
No, I can see them doing literally like what they tried to do with Hills Have Eyes 2, which is sending a military regiment after them. I can see them sending cavalry.
Send the guys that survived at the end of Ravenous and have it like a crossover.
Right, okay, so you brought it to Ravenous, thank you. David Arquette was in another cannibal movie. Oh, cannibals. The bad guys, the troglodytes, are cannibals. And Ravenous...
Very much
Ravenous,
so. Oh my God.
which
They're
is...
brutal. They're absolutely brutal.
I think Ravenous is my favorite Western, I think. It is so good, Ravenous. And it is a vampire Western, maybe? Vampire cannibal
Sort
Western?
of. So,
Wendigo cannibal Western? There's cannibalism in it somewhere. You
Yes.
guys should watch it. Everybody should watch it. It's amazing. And David Arquette has a crazy role in it. And here he's I love his acting in this. It's not crazy. He was younger when he did the crazy things. So like, you can be crazy. So he's crazy.
He's much more controlled now. I don't
So
know if you've ever seen a
subtle.
movie called... Have you seen The Gray Zone?
No, I haven't.
It's about concentration camps, and
Nope.
it is his greatest performance ever, and nobody saw it, and it would have changed his career if people had noticed. It is truly heartbreaking, and at no point is he hammy, and it's like he decided one night just to change his entire style.
That's awesome. Except I don't want to see another Holocaust
I know.
movie ever again.
It's a feel bad movie.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to ignore. I'm not a apologist or a person who rewrites history in my own mind. Yeah, it happened. I don't want to experience vicariously through a movie what happened. That's not catharsis for me.
Bone Tomahawk is also a feel-bad movie. There are scenes... I have never once in my life gotten up during a movie to go closer to the screen out of shock and horror. I found myself, like how people do with baseball games, like when the Cubs are so close to getting to the World Series, and it's the 9th inning, and I'm stressing out, and I get up and I watch the screen like, come on, just get it, stop screwing up every year.
Right,
and
okay.
So I see certain things that happen in this movie that shock me. I get up out of my chair and I walk closer to the television as if that is going to help things. I'm so pulled in. This has never happened with a movie before, but the brutality was insane, and the shocks. I mean, just the simple fact that they're sitting out there, he's looking through the binoculars, and he's like, okay, I think we're ready. All of a sudden, they're all nailed by arrows. Matthew Fox, who you
That's
think
amazing.
is going to be...
That was amazing.
The two people who you think are going... Spoilers, we already warned you. The two people who you think are going to survive and the two who are going to die is the exact opposite. You got an old man, Richard Jenkins, playing older than he really is, doing an amazing job.
He's so good.
I think he's actually quite a bit younger than Kurt Russell, maybe a decade younger. And he's playing him much older. You know, he's got his hunched over, his voice, his mannerisms, the makeup helps.
Are any of you somnambulous?
That's private.
Me and sleepwalk.
Oh, no, I don't.
Me neither.
No.
Sleep with your guns nearby, and you shoot anything that rings a bell.
Could be an innocent animal, somebody lost.
Our horses are hobbled. Any animal that comes at us is a predator. Any person that approaches a camp in the dark without identifying themselves is a criminal or a savage. You hear it jingle, point your gun and shoot. I'll probably beat you to the draw, but don't count on me to save you.
Let it go. I can't. Hey! You watch how you speak to the law. Sheriff especially. You aren't captain.
No, I'm the most intelligent man here, and I intend to keep us alive.
Oh, you're the most intelligent man here. Is that a fact?
It is. Sheriff Hunt has a wife. So does Mr. O'Dwyer. And you're a widower.
Yeah. What has that got to do with anything?
Smart men don't get married.
Well...
And by the way, wait. if you're familiar with Richard Jenkins, he plays in Step Brothers. He's the father in Step Brothers, and he's got this obvious. It's a Richard Jenkins style, and he does this in all those comedies that he's in, and even serious stuff. He has a way of delivering lines that he totally doesn't
amazing.
do in this movie. He does.
By the way, speaking of the lines,
hold on. He does a wholly different way of Richard Jenkins. I've never seen Richard Jenkins. It's amazing. I've never seen him do this kind of acting. My wife even tweeted that he should be awarded some sort of award.
Yeah,
for it.
His dialogue with Kurt Russell's is actually pretty funny. It's not laugh out loud like ha ha ha, but it's like it's like nice.
He ultimately is the comic relief in the film.
Yeah.
It's honest comic relief. I have a friend who, to me, he's one of the funniest people in the world, and it's not because we're laughing at him. He's kind of adorable in his mannerisms and how he speaks and says things. And it's just fun to be around him for just him and how he speaks. And what he does. And that's how Richard Jenkins' character played. You can't be mad at him. Even if you're telling him to shut up, you're not mad.
He is one of the finest performances in this movie, filled with great performances. Even the small bits are pretty good. Patrick Wilson is probably the greatest horror hero, not heroine, since Hills Have Eyes. And like I said, it's rare that there's a male protagonist in horror movies, especially if he's not like the action guy. He's the guy who, with a broken leg, no matter what, he is going to get his wife, even though he knows for a fact.
Oh, he's crawling over the. He says, "This is where it all went sideways." He looks at the opening where all the other guys got hit by arrows and goes, "This is where it went bad."
Yeah.
And turns and goes to the left, and he's crawling. He just drags himself. Dude, rips that thing out of the guy's throat.
Yeah, how did he even figure that out, though? That's the one thing that bugged me, is because how did he figure out that was where it was, what it is, and how to use it?
Didn't he see the guy yell?
Yes, if you could figure that out after one yell.
Well, it's totally otherworldly. I think maybe that might be just a moment for the audience. Like, obviously, they can't yell that way, so there's got to be something augmenting them.
Yeah.
And it's true. Some surgically embedded bone whistle in the throat. So, things go south. You were saying arrows to everybody, except for him. He's got a broken leg and he's straggling far behind. This is how he doesn't get killed.
So they automatically, the first person to go down is the one who's like the hot shot, the one that's fast with guns, accurate. He's young in his prime and everything. Well, young in comparison.
Matthew Fox.
Yeah, and they take him out almost immediately.
Like, so fast. He, throws the rock to signal them, come on, it's clear, goes in, and then they're full-on attacked again. Or was that the arrow part?
Yeah, that's the arrow part. But then it's after that they run away and they end up getting... I thought Richard Jenkins was dead. I really thought he was dead when they hit him in the head because I thought they, chopped him in the head.
Oh, they did. That's his bone. That's his skull flapped open.
Oh, that's from the arrow. That's from the arrow. That's when they knocked the arrow knocked the hat off of his head.
But it looked like he had this flap of skin removed on his forehead, and it was just his bone exposed, and it just skull.
I'm saying to that, not knowing what we're going to talk about next. That's nothing.
So Fox gets his hand chopped off, and that was confusing at first.
That was an editing issue. I had to rewind it, watch it again, because the editing didn't show exactly what had happened.
What I saw was the bone tomahawk, which is a jawbone of an ass or something, sharpened, so sharp that it cuts through anything super fast. So the bone tomahawk slices his wrist, and all I thought was that his wrist was sliced until the editing showed seconds later that it was actually his hand was cut off, and the bone tomahawk is still on the ground. And so he ties that off and gets some dynamite and promptly gets killed.
Which is never used, which is another surprising moment. You assume, oh, he's going to take out a couple guys. That at least, he'll go out heroically, taking out some bad guys with dynamite. Nope, not a single stick got used.
Now, this tactic of the hero gets killed first has been done many times.
Right.
There's a movie called Feast.
Well, Kurt Russell is the hero.
Yeah, sure. But you guys want to survive this crazy thing that's happening, you'll listen to me. Viggo Mortensen in Daylight, that was an earlier version of it.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, Feast, and then he's immediately taken out of the window and bitten into
what
by
movie?
monsters. Feast.
Oh, right. And then there's Deep Blue Sea, Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson, Shark Bite. So this thing has happened, but it always happens in a very grandstanding kind of way. And there was no grandstanding. There was no the guy knows, the master of subtlety. This director. I wonder what else he's gonna do.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I want to read his novels, and I don't read.
Very.
I rarely ever read fiction. I usually read nonfiction or comic books because fiction is so in depth. I find myself my attention span is so short that I'm 30 pages in, going, "Oh God, just stop subscribing in the bathtub. I get it already." I'm as far as reading stories go, I like Chuck Palahniuk because he gets to the point. Stuff like that. Douglas Adams is fun and funny. So I'm not a big reader like that either. But I do read all the time. I read articles all the time, and that's as far as you can get to true life as possible. So kind of what you just said, nonfiction. Handoff, he dies immediately, and then the heroes are abducted too, fast. So what we have now is we have a lone broken leg cowboy who has an infection that's going to kill him if he doesn't get it taken care of. He's gonna get gangrene, blood poisoning, something.
The whole time I was like, just pick up some dirt and rub it in your wound. Just do that. It's actually a thing that I believe is correct to do if you have a wound like that. Anyway, it'll hurt though, but it'll stop the bleeding. Yeah, he's crawling, figures something out, calls a couple of them, takes a few out. What was that stuff that they have, the opium?
Right. I forgot about that. The opium or laudanum.
It's something of opium is what they kept on calling it. It's a flask full of it, and that this is how they helped Patrick Wilson's character. Kurt Russell and Jenkins are acting like, give me some, man. Give me some of that. It's so good. Come on, my turn. Wait. No, give me some. Stop drinking it all. And so the troglodytes notice that they have something that they desire. So the troglodytes are like,
hey, give it to us.
So they do. And that stuff, first swig will kill a guy. Next guy is going to take a little bit less because there's less. Third guy, he's not going to take enough to hurt him. And that's exactly what happened. And they devise this because Lily is a doctor, and she's also smart. Lily Simmons, Samantha. But the big horror. The big horror.
The barf scene.
Deputy Nick. Deputy Nick is a handsome young man. He knows how to do his job, except, damn it, man, Okay, let's preface this. Have you ever been to Medieval Times Dinner and Tournament?
I've been to the one that's like it in Vegas.
Did they have a sort of museum of torture?
No, good God, no. What?
So, before you go into the actual, this is in Southern California, before you go into the actual area where you get to eat and sit and eat at the benches and whatever and eat your chicken and flagons of whatever, there's this area that has a medieval torture museum. And here you see things like the Iron Maiden, which is actually made up. It was never used.
Run to the hills.
Shut up!
Run for your life.
Shut your mouth! I'm not a metal fan. Thanks. There's something called the pear. Now I'm just building up. I'm just building up to this other thing. But the pear is something that's inserted into a rectum or a vagina or a mouth.
Boy.
And it's hand cranked, and it's got 3 or 4 pieces that when the crank is cranked corkscrew style, it opens up. So this would be inserted into a cavity. Let's just say the mouth. Insert into the mouth and it opens up, so it forces your mouth open beyond what it should. So it's horrible, right? But that's a torture thing, and you would hope for death. And that's why people got convictions out of that. They're false convictions. That's what all these torture methods are for.
That's right, kids. A family entertainment joint.
Right? It totally was. And I was a young teen seeing this stuff, and I was just like, huh? But then there's a wood etching print of a man hanging upside down by his ankles, and 2 men on either side of him, and they have a saw. And it's a drawing, so it's basically medieval cartoons, but the saw is between the man's legs, and they are cutting into him, but it's only like the beginning of cutting into him.
Okay, dude, is it possible to get a rating on a restaurant? Can there be an R rating for medieval times?
Yeah, that was just like this is something that they did, and it was actually a method of execution, not torture. They would hang people upside down in medieval England or France or wherever that barbarism was, and people would just go out and, that man is a serial murderer but says he's a werewolf, we caught him. Hang him upside down or pin him to a wheel and start hacking at his limbs. Horrible, horrible thing. People, horrible mentality. So something like that happens in this film, and they do not take the camera away from it.
Oh no! What is this rated? Still rated R? Cause yeah, that was
well. It's tame until the hand is cut off, and it's not rated.
Huh? I didn't realize they could still do that. But if it, if it went to theaters, I thought it was required to have rating. But you know what? MPAA is kind of corrupt anyway, so screw it.
Yeah. Still, the deputy gets cut down the center, just like I said, except instead of using a saw, they have another bone tomahawk that they're just sawing into his junk and through his guts, and his guts fall out, and he just...
Now, I've seen this in a movie before, twice. Kingsman just did it last year, and there's a movie called U.S. SEALs 2, where the finale is they take a samurai sword and chop the guy in half. Yeah. But they do it in a stylized fashion.
They do it in a silly way, right?
It's like a special effects, like, wow, look at this insane moment. This is not insane, this is not wild, this is not expected to make you go, huh? Cool.
It's incredibly... It's brutal. It's just...
It reminds me of Fulci. How Fulci would handle gore is to make you truly, truly horrified at seeing the flesh tear. What is one of the most horrifying things you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah. Was there decapitation?
Yes, but we're not to that yet. Even that one was truly horrifying, but what really, really made me get up and go close to the television is what happened next, is because of the opium. The first couple guys, one dies, one gets sick, and the big guy, the big honking dude, who I actually thought was going to die because he drank the most. He comes in, and they grab Kurt Russell, they pull him out, they cut his ribs open, and they shove the opium bottle as it's burning hot in the fire.
Yeah, they pulled it out from the fire that they had like dismissively thrown the bottle into the fire pit, which is just between the two cages that they have them in. It's just been sitting there,
rammed that into
getting red hot, basically. And the guy picks it up and just shoves it into his ribcage.
And that was the moment that was like, A, it was original. I've never seen anything like that. B, the brutality of it. This is a very brutal. They're not just cannibals. They are brutal. They want to hurt badly. For just whatever reason, entertainment, or that's just how they do things. When they shove into him, whatever, they just sit there and watch him, see how he handles it or whatever, and then they decide they're going to do other stuff to him. That was one of the moments that just made me get up and go, what?
Yeah, it's just the worst. It's so bad and sad. And
yeah. So we're getting to the end of the movie. It's Patrick Wilson basically crawling for I don't know how many miles. Hobbling and crawling, trying to get...
It was like 4 days away. It was about 4 days away when they were abducted. The area where, when their horses were taken, they were about 2 days in. And then by walking, they finally got there. So you can say he probably hobbled for 3 days. I don't know. Yeah, 3. If he's that far behind, yeah. I would say that.
So basically, you're watching this guy go through no matter what to save his wife. It doesn't matter if he lives or dies. I don't think he cares. It's his love and honor to somehow try at least to save her. And, we're getting to the end of the movie where, Kurt Russell has somehow found a way to, through distraction of the gunshots that Patrick Wilson's killing the other guys, he chops off the big guy's foot.
Oh, right. Chops the front of his foot off by use of the bone tomahawk, right?
And that's when the decapitation comes in, because he just hammers and hammers with every inch of life that he has left in him, hammering away at this guy's neck and takes it off. And basically, they escape, but he is left behind because he knows he's toast. He's been shot in the ribs.
He's had his ribs cut open and the flask put in. He's been shot as well because the big guy was trying to figure out how to use a Remington.
What I like about Kurt Russell is he's handled each decade differently of his career. The 70s, he's the young new kid in the Disney movies. In the 80s, he balanced out every genre, but he was always kind of the funny guy. He's always had like a wise ass remark to say. The 90s, he became like the leader, the military guy. The firefighter.
Strong, what is a lantern jaw?
Yeah, he's basically the modern day superhero. You know, that time he stopped the jokes, and then in the 2000s are a little bit less for him because I think after Soldier bombed so badly, and he had broken his foot during filming that, he kind of just took time off. You know, decided to be a dad, and then you see that reflected in the movies he made in that next decaders where he is a dad. Now it seems like he is an elder statesman. The movies he's been doing lately, like Art of the Steel and this movie, and I have not seen Hateful Eight, but I imagine that it's a little bit different. He's trying out completely different.
Well, I'll tell you,
again, like
it's the exact same facial hair. So he did the movies.
It takes that long to grow.
He did the movies probably back to back. So one mustache is the same in both movies.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit more wintry in Hateful Eight, like he has more scruff around his mustache, but it's the same. And that movie's completely different dialogue style, and two westerns back to back, and they're both confront you, and you don't really know how to feel about. Well, this one is actually a lot more conventional in the journey, the hero's journey.
Yeah.
But through the brutality of the villains, you really don't know how to feel. I can't recommend, hey, Dad, you like Kurt Russell Western movies.
Oh, no, this is a very niche, a very particular audience that is very open-minded, but also can stand the fact that it's long, the fact that it spends so much time with the characters, and then it hits you so hard at the end. This is a movie, actually, I would say, for true filmmaking fans who understand how to make a non-studio movie, one that gives everything they need to the actors, doesn't overwhelm you with anything fake. I don't think there's a single shot of CGI. If it is, it's very well done.
And before any progressive folks out there think that this is just a damsel in distress flick, it's not.
No, not even.
The lady is a strong character. That's set up from the beginning.
Yeah, just because you're captured does not mean you're weak. It's just a circumstance that you're stuck in, no matter how tough you are. I mean, look at Kurt Russell. He's supposed to be the hero of it, and he gets captured as well.
So they get out. They make it out. Now we're going to talk about the pregnant ladies.
Yes.
How the troglodytes breed is they captivate. They're so captivating.
Yes.
They capture ladies, or maybe they're just their kin. They don't get that far into it. But they cut off their legs and their arms, and they gouge their eyes out. Now, not just gouging their eyes out, they just take pegs and they push their eyes in, and they leave the pegs there, and they keep those women pregnant.
I missed all of this. I did not notice this whatsoever. Holy crap.
You didn't see that part?
Nope. I saw Richard Jenkins holding a rock in his hand, and I thought he was going to bash their heads in, and I was like, is he going to kill him? Not kill him? Oh, they're not. And that's it. That's all I noticed. Holy crap. What?
See, this is why I was like on about that earlier. Yeah, there were stumpy ladies with big pregnant bellies and pegs that are, I'm assuming, would be about 6 inches jabbed into their eyes. So 4 inches or 5 inches of those pegs are sticking out of their heads. And there's 2 of those women, and they're pregnant and wobbling around, like moving around. It's either like a prosthetic makeup job, or they have an animated animatronics going on. But holy crap. What? The cutting in half. And then that. Yeah, those troglodytes. Bah! Noises.
More like troglodyte jerks.
Yeah, jerks is too nice. Jerks is such a gentle word for them.
You know what kills me? It's that this was going to be a mini-sode, but we found so much to talk about.
Yeah.
It was longer than a normal episode.
Well, anyway, I suggest it if you're a person who really does like westerns. Sure. If you're a person who really does like movies, and let's just say this would be an NC-17 film based on violence, but it's not, and it's not a Rob Zombie type of violent film.
I'm going to say this is the first horror western that I actually liked. It's not a big genre thing that you see. There's probably maybe a dozen at most, but I think most of them suck, and this one's actually very, very good.
You didn't like Ravenous?
I don't, for some reason in my mind, that's not a western. I don't know what that is. It's like the way The Revenant to me isn't a western. It's like
well, it is set in the same exact
It is.
time
I don't
frame,
know what it is.
Right? It's the
it's
same
just 'cause I don't see no
frame,
cowboys.
But it's not, dusty deserts and stuff. It's up in the mountains. So
that's like Jeremiah Johnson to me isn't a western. It's just like a survivalist. Grizzly Adams, survivalist. It's like a whole different, it's like a mini genre of western that I never even noticed.
Gotcha. Keyword search, it would say western, but I understand what you're saying. So yeah, Bone Tomahawk.
I'm gonna go throw up now, so thank you everybody.
See you later.
Goodbye!